Good afternoon and welcome everyone. Welcome to the yet another session of Illuminate, a knowledge sharing session presented by NoPaperForms. So for all the viewers, I would like to tell you something about Illuminate. And I'm very proud to mention that Illuminate keep bringing such knowledge sharing session. In the recent past, we have talked about K-12 segment and how to scale business in K-12 segment. And in fact, we had shared this several sessions based on the higher ed demands, like how to nurture lead, how the counselor should use system, how they can make better conversion. So this property Illuminate actually help the complete education sector in many folds. So without taking much of time, I will go to the agenda for today, which is going to be very, very important because for the very first time in Illuminate, we are going to talk about preschool admission. This topic was not ever touched upon. And with the sense of pride, we are going to discuss this in today's Illuminate session, that how the preschool stakeholders can increase and optimize their admission. So I'm the host and I have Rohit as a co-host today, and we both look after the K-12 business at NoPaperForms, right? So I would request my colleague Rohit to tell something about NoPaperForms before we move ahead. So Rohit, over to you.
Thank you, Ritesh, for the introduction. I would quickly like to tell you what NoPaperForms is all about. We, for the past 5 years, have been helping schools and colleges around the country automate the entire admissions process. And when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about inquiry to the enrollment stage. The entire process has been streamlined and automated by NoPaperForms for the past 5 years. And we are that one single platform to attract, engage, and grow all your enrollments. And yes, I'm proud to say that we have been trusted by 700 plus educational institutions across India, and we are working with over 1,200 schools currently. Yes, Ritesh.
So thank you so much, Rohit. So for the viewers, I would like to mention that your cameras and mic will be default off, right? But still, if you would like to ask any of the question, you can go to Q&A section and you can write your question and we would love to answer your question. And during the course of this presentation, if in case we miss on any of your question, we would love to revert within the shortest possible time. So let's talk about today's agenda, that how can preschool optimize and increase their admission rate. And then, of course, this is very important and obvious for any of the educational institution to reach their goals. So they set their higher goals and then they start chasing their goal. But somehow, if they will not optimize and they will not change the way they work, they won't be able to create an impact and the outcome of increase will not be there. So hence we in this course of presentation, we will talk about that how to optimize and increase the admissions, right? So one very important thing that why this is going to be helpful for the stakeholders of preschool, because this will also give you a sense that how to unlock your complete potential. So for example, if you are sitting on the under numbers, it means if you have more potential and you don't have enough number, how you can meet your numbers. So now, in today's masterclass, in fact, we have segmentized this in 6 points, which start from the old game, and we will conclude this with your Q&A. And before that, we'll talk about the product and we'll give you the live demo. But we have kept these 6 points, which are very, very important to understand. First, as you can see, the old games. So in the old game, we are going to talk about the approach which is used so far. And in fact, pre-COVID, there is a slight change. But what is that game and what are the factor of those games that we are predominantly we are going to talk about and discuss? Because for any business, it is really, really important to understand that what kind of existing ecosystem that we have. And using that, being in that existing ecosystem, what are the challenges that the stakeholder face, right? Be it the owner or the counselor or the admission manager or the callers, what sort of the challenges they face in this process. And when we struggle with the challenges, this is very obvious that we will miss on the opportunity, right? So we are also going to highlight those missed opportunities. And of course, this is going to be very, very important, that how the playground is changing. So we have segmentized this as the changing playground. Then we are going to talk about the solution by the NoPaperForm for the preschools, which will help you to understand that how this system will help you scale your business, optimize your business. And the talk show, after that talk show, you will see the live demo of that product by my colleague Rohit. So before we actually move to the old game slide, okay, we would like to understand from the viewers. So for that, we will quickly run a poll, right? And I can read the question out for the audience. So this is a quick poll, audience. The question is, which of the following method do you rely on the most to drive admission for your preschool? So I'm going to launch this poll. So now you have 30 seconds basically to answer. So the first option is spray and pray method. Second is word of mouth. Third is walk-in, digital campaigning, all of the above. So we can see trends are frequently changing. That's wonderful. In fact, we have more 20 seconds. I would request participants to give their opinion.
When we're talking about digital campaigning in one of the options, it includes not only your Google, Facebook, Instagram, basically all the processes together. Walk-ins can be wherever people have heard or seen your advertisements that come in and submitted a lead.
Right. So now we are going to end this poll. So I have result in front of me and I'm going to share this result. So now you can see that 26% of the audience says word of mouth. They are, so a very good amount of percentage, they are depending upon the word of mouth. Then followed by the digital campaign, walk-in, and 39% of the stakeholders says that they are dependent upon all of the above option. But I'm surprised to see that there is no, there is no result for the 0% people have not marked actually. None of the audience has marked spray and pray. So of course, we are going to talk about, right? So with this, we'll quickly move to our next slide and let's talk about the old game. So since we have seen a 0 result for spray and pray, so I would like to pick this up very first and would like to discuss with the audience. So spray and pray means we are actually spray and pray actually can be it can be effective in any domain. If you talk about your handling your walk-ins, handling any other means and ways of your lead, or let's say if you are managing your digital campaign, if you are not optimizing that, you are basically investing your effort and energy in one segment and which is not giving result because we don't have the analysis. So for example, there's one very common practice which has been seen that during the cycle of admission, right? During that 1 month of admission, many of the preschool, they go for one common exercise of newspaper leaflet insertion. So they'll spend huge amount of money, but is it giving that result? Because you are spending an X amount to that activity and effort. Somebody is getting up, ensuring that the creative which you have designed for your prospective audience is reaching out by the way of newspaper to the audience. But is that giving you result? So have we actually channelizing our energy on a particular or maybe segmentize? Are we actually putting effort, channelize effort? So if not, then you are sitting on spray and pray method, right? Then like we have seen in the result that word of mouth, people are largely actually depending upon the word of mouth. But
Definitely.
a coin has two sides, right? A positive and a negative, right? So
Absolutely.
of course, parents are going to talk about highly if they are really satisfied. But if a set of parents, if they are not really satisfied, so it can even backfire. But how are we measuring the percentage of admission are coming from word of mouth? So these are the ways on which we are actually relying upon. And we will also talk in the coming slide about how one should, what is a new way of managing admissions. So word of mouth is second, because of course we think that it is our organic audience which will go out and they will talk in the society, they will talk in the community, and this is how we'll grow our business. But having said that, can we really depend upon one of that factor? So here the answer is no, and we'll talk about why the answer is no, right? Then we depend upon walk-in. So these are the seasonal. Now we know that if this admission season will come, those 2 to 3 months will have heavy walk-ins where we'll put our complete focus on the walk-in, and we'll try and we'll call them, we'll communicate with them to convert, right? So these are the basically old ways where we as a stakeholder of
Right.
preschools, we will focus more, right?
Right. And Ritesh, this walk-in section also involves all those parents who have probably seen a hoarding somewhere or read about the school in some advertisement, right? So again, your spray and pray may work and convert into a walk-in. It may absolutely not work, right? So
Right.
yeah, there's also a very important part of the old game. I mean, how schools were actually doing it. Uh, there's a part in this slide, if you can see TOFU dependence. What that stands for is the top of the funnel.
Right.
So again, I would like to reiterate the school admissions when it comes to elementary education is very sensitive and very personal. The factors that a parent looks at before admitting or choosing a school are very different from higher education choices. Here they talk about how safe the school is, what is the hygiene there, how many teachers are there, what is the background of the teachers, how close it is, how many facilities are there, will they provide food, and if not, what are the options, etc. So the factors are very different here. So people start their research way ahead from the actual admission season. So when I'm talking about the top of the funnel, I'm talking about those people who are just researching. Probably they may not have a direct intent to get an admission, but they're just reading about it, learning more. Probably they have a child due in maybe few months down the line, and they're looking forward to a school 2-3 years down the line. They're researching now. Now, if your school and your counseling team works on these inquiries primarily, without understanding the intent, you're just wasting your time, your effort, and if you're buying these leads, you're wasting your money too. So the dependence on TOFU or the top of the funnel leads or inquiries is something that has been happening quite a lot. And the next point, technology apprehensions. This is another, I'm sure a lot of you will be able to relate, apprehension towards adoption of a new technology. Whether will it work? Can I learn that technology in time? Will I be able to implement it in my system? Will my workforce be able to adopt to the change, etc. and etc. So that's another factor. But we have also seen, Ritesh, in the COVID, before the COVID versus after the COVID, how a lot of uh, uh, teachers have been literally forced. I'd say some of them have done willingly, some of them have been forced to adopt to the change of online teaching,
Right.
learning Zoom, learning the full suite of these technologies. So yes, it is inevitable. Technology has to be avoided. Technology has to be taken into your system. but the apprehension has still remained as part of the old game.
Right. Here, Rohit, I would like to add one interesting point. Right. Number one, the kind of prospective audience the preschool has, right? They are targeting to the young parents, right? Which
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
young parents are actually and completely, most of the young parents are completely dependent upon
25 to
technology.
34 years age group.
Yes, they just keep a cell phone in their hand to make the orders, to book the cabs, to if they have to book anything, they will first use internet, right? So are
Correct.
we able? No, so why we have apprehension of adopting technology? Of course, we understand if we adopt a new technology, we always think as a user that now I need to learn a new technology. But here I would also like to give one of the example, like India is now become the highest, India is the top in the top country, which is with the highest number of digital transaction, right? So India has maximum number of digital transaction. And who made this possible? Actually, the users like you, me, and the viewers were sitting across, the young parents. And once one start using the technology, they
There's
become
no going back. Absolutely.
there's no
Yes.
going back. So
Life becomes easier. Absolutely.
right. If we think as a user, if we can go back to the era when we used to keep a cash and we are not dependent upon the wallet, it's not possible. These days we may not keep our physical wallet,
Yes.
but we will have the virtual wallet all the time. So of course, one has to really look at the adoption, and it is easy to understand once we start paying attention. So like you
Right.
rightly mentioned about the COVID time, one had to accept the technology because of the circumstances,
Inevitable.
because
Yeah.
of the business conditions, right, during that time. So of course, technology is easy to understand, provided we are spending a little time on that to understand, right? Now, yes, I will cover one point which is missed so far: reactive approach. Reactive approach may sound very easy, at the same time complex. We need to understand and decode what reactive approach is. What happens is, generally during the course of the admission cycle, what happens is, if one segment of lead works good, then we put the entire workforce to that lead channel. Or if
Right.
lead channel B will start working more, we'll put the entire energy, money, and resources towards the channel B, without realizing that what sort of a percentage we are getting in terms of lead and what sort of percentage is a conversion from that lead. So we basically, looking at the lead flow, we just we become reactive, and we starting defocusing and moving towards the area or the channel where we are getting the more leads. So suddenly, because of the circumstances, or because of the a quick change, a short-term change, we react to that situation, because there is no scientific approach to map and see the outcomes and then channelize our energy.
Right, Ritesh. Admissions is not short-term trading, it's a long-term investment. And we have to understand that market fluctuations are a short-term thing, not a long time. So we're not going to stay forever. So we need to plan for the bigger picture and not react to every short changes. And that's how the old game, unfortunately, has been.
Right. Right.
So moving on.
One
You want to
point,
inactive
Rohit,
online.
we would like to discuss ineffective online targeting. So I want you to add something to this.
Right. So as Ritesh had already mentioned, that spray and pray approach. If we are not targeting the right kind of persons when we are in our communications or in our marketing activities, we are wasting our time, money, and energy. That's pretty straightforward. So this is exactly what has been happening. A lot of preschools, play schools, they have probably tied up with some marketing agencies, random campaigns without understanding the right target audience. If you are sending a campaign to somebody who is not even looking for a play school, who has just landed on your site, that's ineffective or wrong targeting. If you're sending communications like you're welcome to the school to check it out, even after the admission has been done, that's wrong targeting. So there are several such ways that you can, in effect, end up targeting the wrong people. And that also has been happening as part of the old game.
In
So
fact,
yeah.
In fact, I would like to mention a classic and a real example, on-ground example with my discussion with one of the client. He mentioned that because of the lead dumping and using one single platform to send them communication out of that, the dump of database, we end up sending the communication to our existing audience, which has already been enrolled, and the prospective audience, which is not the target of current year, and they are the target of upcoming year. We end up spending and sending communication to those audience. So they are actually losing
Absolutely.
out money on their communication which they are sending, and making the experience not a good experience to those customers which are already enrolled and which are the prospect for the upcoming years.
I would like to give one more example. I recently met a school authority who were talking about the hoardings that they had placed. It's a preschool, and that particular hoarding was placed by the marketing agency around 15 kilometers away. Now, that's an absolute ineffective targeting of your audience, because for a preschool or a play school, 15 kilometers is a long distance. So if you are targeting audience over there, I wouldn't say that it'll be a highly effective targeting. Right. So that's summary of what are the different parameters that defines the old game and how the things have been happening so far.
Right. So now let's quickly move to our next slide. Well, again, now we are going to have a quick poll in front of you. So next question of the poll is, which of the following methods do you rely on the most to drive admission for your preschool? I'll repeat the question once again. Which of the following methods do you rely on the most to drive admissions for your preschool? So now I'm going to launch this poll where you can actually, give your opinion. So you have poll in front of you. I would request audience to participate in the poll. Great. Now we can see some of the result. People are participating. So the number is going up. Great.
Please, more of you participate in this poll. The more the numbers, the better the analysis again.
So we have 10 more seconds to go.
It's a very close competition, Ritesh.
Right. So, okay. So now we are going to end this poll. So now I have result in front of me, which I'm going to share with you. So here the result is, according to you, what are the new ways adopted by preschool to drive their admission? And we had multiple choice. So we have maximum percentage of usage of technology, which I'm really happy to see, right? That preschool stakeholders are using technology largely to drive their business and admission, followed by personalized communication, which is 48%. And then they are focusing on analytical approach, which is very good, which is 30%, and branding effort, which is 26%. So now we'll quickly move to our next slide. So Rohit, this is really
Yes.
going to be exciting. That what are the challenges? Of course, old game, we now we were able to communicate to our audience. Now it is very, very important for us to make them understand that how these challenges exist in their current business ecosystem. So over to you.
Right. So some of the challenges that we have noted down are, number one, the limited potential mapping of brand equity. So what is brand equity? It is the commercial implication of the brand based on the perception rather than the direct product or service itself. What does that mean? If it's the number of admissions or the number of seats that are filled up based on the perception of the brand of the school amongst the general public rather than the brand or service itself. Now, if you've seen very clearly, there are some brands that have the luxury of charging a higher premium than another brand which has the similar product maybe. Why is that? Because the former has a higher brand equity. And there are several factors that involve in the creation of a brand equity. And until and unless we measure each one of them, we will never be able to optimize it and create a brand equity for ourselves. So that has been a very big challenge that schools have faced. Second, no bird's eye view of the overall brand trends. Again, a lot of you here are preschool owners. A lot of you are important stakeholders. Now, you may not have the time or the bandwidth to get into the smaller details of the management or the running of the school, every little detail. But you need to have an overall view of the numbers or how things are happening, how many leads you're getting, how many leads in what stage, how many qualified leads, how many unqualified leads, what are the sources of the leads, what are the background of the parents who are applying, which areas are performing best. Now, these are the insights or analytics that you need to know. And unless you know that, you will never be able to better the performance of your admissions or reach a wider audience or increase your brand equity, just what I have just mentioned.
Right.
The third,
here I have a question for you. So I
correct.
want the audience to understand that is there a specific timeline if you adopt everything, how how long or how short it take to become a really strong brand?
Well, I've been asked that question many times. What are the things? Tell me a few things that I need to do so that immediately I can become a big brand. Well, that doesn't happen. A brand is created over a period of time. No wonder when a brand is created, he has the leeway of charging more fees, being choosy about admissions and so many other factors. So brand building is an exercise that happens over time, and it takes several consistent and proper things to be boxes to be checked basically, so to build, and it doesn't happen overnight, as I said again and again.
So right. So as Rohit mentioned that there has to be a scientific approach in order to
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So over to you, Rohit.
Yeah. So as I was saying, there's a third challenge is the blind spot in marketing expenditure. All right. Now, if you are purchasing a lead from somewhere which has already given to you before, that's a blind spot. If you are buying a lead that has wrong credentials, that is a blind spot. If you are spending money on a campaign that isn't even reaching the right audience, that is a blind spot. So if you do not measure, if you don't have the facility to measure what your marketing spends are actually giving you in return, that is a huge blind spot over here. So this is another challenge, run a Facebook campaign, create a poster and paste it around town, create a leaflet, putting in the newspaper. Now, if you do not know, everything costs money here, mind you. If you do not know how to measure what is coming in return of all that, then that's a huge blind spot for you. And that is a big challenge.
So I guess, in fact, with the ground experience, I must say that preschools are generally segmentizing their, marketing spend, that X amount of money they are going to spend in A, B, Y into B, and Z into C. So this is how they have divided without seeing the outcome and the measures in most of the cases where I have interacted. Right.
Yes, Ritesh. So in the poll we just conducted, a lot of the second highest, I'd say, they have said that personalized communication. Now, how do you personalize the communication? You need to know the person, because before you send a personalized communication, right? And if you do not have the right tools and the method, that is not going to be possible, right? So that's another challenge.
Right. In fact, I am going to pick up the points from here: productivity mapping and fragmented parent experience. So productivity mapping is very, very important for all the stakeholders, because now whatever exercise you have done and you have gathered some of the points, some of the data points, and you have done certain marketing activity, and there is an implication towards incoming call and towards your walk-in. Now you don't have a proper product mapping. So for example, if you're putting best of your resource to a set of database which is not really good, it means you are wasting your resource, killing the time of the resource, and it will also impact on the outcome of your business. So currently, if we see that generally the preschool doesn't have a scientific mechanism to deploy their resources in such a fashion that they can get maximum outcome from these resources. The second point which I would like to highlight here, that follow-up task is very, very important. And most of the preschools are managing these tasks in Excel sheet. And as a user, we know that we also give time to the service provider, that I may be comfortable talking to that service provider at a particular time, at a particular date. But in the Excel management, we are not able to actually find out when and what time to follow up that audience, right? We miss because of the improper maintenance or the poor database maintenance. And that is how we are even missing on the potent time of our resources, because they are struggling between that Excel. They are not able to focus on the high intent database and what is the low intent database. And this is how actually the core team and the management team is not able to deploy their resources as per the intent and the value of the data. So this is how they are actually failing in productivity mapping. Now, we'll talk about the fragmented parent experience. And in fact, we spoke about this. Like in the last slide, we spoke about that any parent, which is your prospective parent, right? He's just looking for his child, which is 1 year old, and he's going to put his child when he'll become 2.5 years old. He's going to send him in playway, or let's say the preschool, after 1.5 years. But we don't have a mechanism or a tool in place which we can use to communicate with that parent. Now we'll keep dumping the communication to that parent, and before that parent makes up his mind to get into that preschool, that name will be erased as a brand from the mind of that user, because he has been chased badly, even he is not requiring that product at that time.
Correct.
So we are not able to actually map that it is our future prospect, and we are not giving the correct experience to the parent, because we are not able to identify whether it is the existing set of audience, or the audience which is prospective, or the audience which is our future audience.
Right, Ritesh. So there's another end of the spectrum also. A lot of parents inquire about a school or submit an application and don't really hear back in time. Now that is again a fragmented parent experience. You submit an application and you need a communication right away, right? Otherwise, you might look elsewhere. Right. So that is another problem happening.
Of course, in these time when we are using technology and we know everything on a fingertip, that when our service is arriving our doorstep, we expect the same when it comes to the preschool or school admission.
Right? Absolutely.
We'll quickly move because
Ritesh, before that, we have a question from one of our viewers. And I'd not say question, he has said something. Mr. Sanjay has said that we visit homes personally and talk to our parents as one of our ways of. So yes, this is probably the best situation possible. We would all love to do that, and why not? But in a lot of times, this may not be possible. What do we do in that case? So we're going to talk about the various solutions and what we have on offer, and what are the missed opportunities that we are going to focus on right away. So Ritesh, over to you.
We'll talk about missed opportunities. So effective brand building is one of the main component, which in fact in bits and pieces we have talked about effective brand building, which takes time. It takes years if we are adopting scientific way to manage our admission, manage our leads, and communicating with the prospective and the existing audience, right? Existing and the prospective audience. We slowly and gradually we will make a brand effective, and we will do the effective brand building. Basically, all small and big component make your brand big, right? It's not just about delivering excellent in academics will make your brand big, but how you present your brand in the market, how visible you are there in the market, how you are communicating with your parents, right? Your prospective audience. Are you using any unified communication with your parents, or different counselor or different stakeholder giving different sort of messages to the parent? So if we channelize and we actually, unify the entire experience of communication and the processes, we can make the brand big, and that can be your effective brand building. But if we do not have the scientific way or the tools to manage the entire admission process, definitely the brand building will take longer than expected.
You're right, Ritesh. So similarly, another opportunity that has been missed is probably leveraging technology advancements. A lot of repetitive tasks can be automated and streamlined with the use of technology. A lot of new information can be obtained using technology. A lot of cost cutting can be done using technology. Yes, technology has become a part of our life these days, but it should start right at the beginning, right at the playgroup stage, where we can use the technology to not only identify the right audience, use technology to send the timely communications, avoid wasting time on the ones who are irrelevant, uh, streamline the process and reduce the time in the whole inquiry to the enrollment process, and at the end of the day, enrich the experience of the parents. Right. So another opportunity that probably being missed is marketing ROI optimization. Again, we keep on telling about this is because brands do spend a lot of money, and we have the numbers, and the numbers are substantial. There's a lot of spend happening on digital marketing, Facebook, Insta, Google AdWords, hoardings, banners, leaflets, everywhere. People, as Mr. Sanjay said, do visit home. Everything costs time and money, and technology and proper techniques can be used to optimize the marketing expenditures. Targeted campaigns, again, it's the same thing again. If we do not target our campaigns correctly, we are missing an opportunity. We are talking to somebody who doesn't want to hear us. So if we can focus on this and work around it, we will have an opportunity here rather than missing it altogether.
Right.
And right.
In fact, I would like to add in the marketing ROI optimization, unless you know that how much you are investing and what you are getting out of that. One is the number of lead that we get after investing a certain amount. But what is the qualification of that lead? How many of those leads are actually verified leads? How many of that leads are actually converting into your business? If basis on the outcome and if we are not measuring that outcome, and according to that outcome we are not reinvesting the money, then we are actually end up spending more, and that way one will not be able to scale up their business. And what are the tools which can be used? We are going to talk about that, how one can actually optimize their marketing ROIs.
Right.
Rohit, over to you.
Yeah, so there's another small point here, connecting with the right parents. So a lot of the school owners have told me we have very tight budgets. We would not like to spend so much money. We are managing in the current system we have. Word of mouth is doing pretty well for us. So you know what? If you're not talking to the right person, you are actually incurring another huge cost, and that is the opportunity cost. So if you're not connecting to the right parents, you're not converting the right opportunity over here. So this is another huge missed opportunity, right? What do you think, Ritesh?
Right, absolutely. I agree with you, Rohit. Connecting with the right parent will actually optimize your cost a lot, right?
Yeah.
If you're
Some things we do not really give focus on at the end, but later on when we do our calculations, these are the things that we usually miss.
See, of course, it matters a lot when you connect to your right prospect. It also saves a lot of time, increase your business, and that too in a shorter time.
And you need lesser resources to nurture the right parents. You'll be incurring much more time and money to nurture a lead that is not relevant, right?
Right. So Rohit, I would request you to also talk about targeted campaigns.
Okay, so targeted campaigns, as I just had mentioned about it. So we believe that if you want to improve a process, you need to measure it first. So when you have a campaign and you target to the right person at the right time of the day, at the right day of the week, you will be able to measure its efficiency to the fullest. So lot of you must have definitely, while doing campaigns, a lot of you must have promoted your ads on Facebook, Instagram, and at the end of the day hasn't really yielded much results. That's because the campaigns were not really targeted. Now we target campaigns through different factors, and if somebody is not well read about it, or if somebody doesn't really care, he or she will actually end up spending your money rather than giving you proper results out of a campaign. So that's why I say targeted campaigns are very, very important. And this is another opportunity that has been missed here.
So for that, in fact, stakeholder needs to know when they have the maximum leads, when they have the maximum traffic, on which
Yes.
days, which hour, and which window. I think that.
Right. I'll give you some statistics in this case. Like say a website, say one of our websites like uniapply.com, we have a traffic of over 3 to 4 lakh viewers every month. So we know that number. Now you can have similar channel, another channel, and if you know that number, and if it is a good, you invest there. If you do not know what traffic is coming to your page, or you do not know how many people are there in the locality where you want to place a banner, then you will be just randomly doing it, right? So that is why it is so important here.
According to you, what are the features that an education CRM must possess in order to be impactful for the admission?
Right. So a CRM, I'll give a quick background. A CRM is a customer relationship management tool. Basically, that's software that helps you nurture the leads and manage the leads and inquiries and end up in enrollments. So if you have a software like that, what are the top features that a good CRM should be having? So here they are.
So more 5 seconds. Now we are going to end this poll very quickly.
And still get some more answers here.
So we are still, people are participating, our viewers are participating. So we are giving little more time. So now with this, we would like to end this poll. So now I have result in front of me, which I would like to share with you. So according to you, what are the features that an education CRM must possess in order to be impactful for admission? And the highest answers or the highest option is picked is lead management. So that's the, according to all the stakeholders which have been, those who are participating in this session today, says the lead management is the major pain point. And in fact, one CRM should have this feature, followed by inquiry nurturing and tools for effective communication, then reports and insight, and the last but not the least, brand discovery. So now we will quickly going to talk about this. Yes, Rohit. So
yeah,
I think this is going to be very exciting for all our viewers, because this is how they are going to understand what is the new game.
Right. So far we've been talking about what has been happening. So to get to somewhere, we always need to know where we have come from. So we have covered that part. Now the new game. How the admission landscape has changed in the recent time. See, today a lot of people are open to the use of technology when it comes to acquiring knowledge. First thing we do when we want to learn about something is go online, Google it, and learn about it. Right. So the research is very, very early, and it is very critical. Now, if a child wants, if a parent wants his or her child to get admitted, the parent is doing the research long back, because he or she has the ability to do it. The knowledge is available very easily online. So it becomes early. And that's why it is very important to get hold of that kind of a person at a very beginning of your admission cycle. 90% of the initial research is done online or through references. Now, online research I just mentioned, references. If I'm asking my friend or my friend is influencing me, there's a high chance that he or she has also done the research online, right? So it's evident that online game is very important, or the use of technology is equally important. And not only that standalone, but through references, influences heavily in which school a parent chooses. There's a lot of transfers happening these days. Before COVID, people were in the city. During COVID, they moved out to new city, and they're coming back. They have come, a lot of them have come back, but a lot of them are still on their way. And their decisions are heavily based on, believe me, on the schools in that vicinity, in that area. So that research is happening from an absolutely different city for their wards in a completely new environment. So that is again done with the use of technology. Right. So I keep saying technology and online because that's how it is happening. Most of these processes, previously people used to go to a school, read about it on the newspaper or speak to the school authorities. Yes, people are still doing it, but 90% of the work has already been done. The mind share has already been taken away. So if you're still waiting for that parent to come down and you will influence that decision, you are just working on the 10%. Whereas the 90% research has already been done online. Preschools, so I'd say effective use of technology.
In fact,
Second,
I will just add one thing.
yeah,
Whenever we think with the mindset of user or a consumer, right? If
yeah,
we want to gouge something, the first thing that we do is we go to Google and we ask Google that school near me or a preschool near me, or I would like to see everything on using technology rather than first step of my research. I'll step out of my house and then I'll start researching. That was an old time, but in the new time, as a user, most of us, in fact, would like to research using technological platform or the search engines.
right. So the second point where we mentioned preschools need to up their game by getting their brand discovered. Now, how do you get yourself discovered among a person who is researching online? This is where the search engine optimization, keywords, and ads, these things come into picture. Now, search engine optimization is the process wherein whenever a person is looking for your school, searching your name online, your name organically comes up in the top of the listings. The more optimized it is, the higher it will be in the listings.
Right.
And that is not an overnight process. You need to have the right content. You need to have the right layout of your website. You need to have the right cookies. You need to be very particular about a lot of things. Yes, it might sound too much for a lot of people. I mean, yes, we do not pay attention to a lot of these little things, but this is not one big thing in itself. It's a group of small things that end up giving you a huge result. So brand discovery is hugely online these days, and digital marketing plays a huge game in this. And the companies who are doing it well are ahead of the game.
So, Rohit, I have a
Unless,
question here.
yes.
What do you suggest for majority of small stakeholder in this game of preschools, right? Most like more than 50% of them, they do not have their website. What do you recommend for all such players?
Right. So for the schools that do not have a website, see, I would say, first of all, that a website is something that is bare minimum requirement. So there are a lot of companies that give you free templated hosting. So you can create your website for free, and a minimum basic presence like WordPress websites are for free. You can make those websites and you can host them online. Alternatively, you can have your listing present on different platforms. So these things will increase your digital presence. So if somebody's searching for it, you have somewhere to go to rather than nowhere, right? So this is what the solution to this problem may be.
Right.
So again, analyze and align efforts by getting across detailed performance reports. That's the new game. Measuring the performance quantitatively. Now, if you measure something again and again, I keep saying you measure, improvise, improve. So this is a very important point. Fourth, nurturing to be done through effective and personalized communication. We have seen big companies like Amazon, Flipkart, Uber, Ola, they all send you communications. When you order a food online on Swiggy, the moment you place an order, you get a notification with your name in it. This is the order you placed and it's on its way and so on. Language is different. So this personal communication has to be there. You cannot send bulk SMSs, bulk emails, and bulk communications. It's not going to work. People are used to this kind of communications in the current technology space. So if you are not following that, you are not part of the new game. The fifth point is specialize and focus efforts towards growing the admissions. Yes, effort. That's the tried and tested old method, is the specialized and focused efforts. Hard work, consistent, specialized efforts on that. You need to hire the right people to do the right job. If you get some admin, if you want to get some admin work done, you need to have resources for doing that work, rather than if you channel that person to do your admissions work and then the same person to do your digital marketing, you will not be having a specialized and focused approach towards your admissions game. So now people have become very careful in this regard. They are hiring quality people, qualified people, experienced people to do specific jobs. And they're putting the right efforts and allocating the resources accordingly. So that's how the new game, according to me, is happening. And Ritesh, can you give me an example where schools have actually done all these steps together and ensured success in the admissions game?
Right. So we can see a lot of schools like they are now. In fact, in the coming slide, I'm going to mention that. So I'll keep a hold till
Okay.
I next slide. So that can be really aligned with that content, and people are actually able to relate. So without taking much time, because we have already crossed the time limit, and now we have to quickly talk about who the winner of the new game will be. Because if you become the part of new game, first of all, you need to think that you need to move from an old game to a new game, and then from that new game you have to become the winner. Unless you're not,
Right.
you are not becoming the part of new game, forget about becoming a winner. So first of all, we talk about new game, and now how to take this ladder and go up on that ladder, we are going to talk about. So yes, how can we help you win the game is one platform for brand discovery, marketing, and admission for your preschools. So under K-12, we have a brand called UniApply, where you can get your preschool listed. We, like Rohit spoke about the traffic, where parents are coming. That's a single platform where parents discover, preschool, main schools, and from there only they can actually get in touch with you. They can actually apply for your preschool. They can make an application, and this is how this platform can actually bridge the gap between a school and the parent, right? And the two-way communication can happen. So this is one platform that for brand discovery, and the NoPaperForm, how it is going to play a role in marketing and the automate your admission, right? That we are going to talk about. So now one platform for all your admission need, because your admission, you have that aim to scale your reach. That is the struggle with most of the stakeholder and the owners of the preschool, that they are not able to scale. They are not able to reach their full potential. They are actually sitting on the lesser number, despite the fact they have more to accommodate. They have space, resources, and money to have more people, but they are not able to do because of the scattered approach and not the focused approach and absence of the scientific method. So this is one single platform which can help you to manage your inquiry, right? You can, in fact, Rohit will give you a live demo just after couple of slides. So inquiry management you can do at a single platform, right? From there only you can nurture these inquiry. How you can nurture these inquiry? You can mark the follow-up. Then the counselor will be able to see in the calendar. You can, you can even communicate to them, right? So you can have, conversion, inquiry conversion using this platform. You can actually maximize your ROI. You can look at the reports. What are the trends? Which segment is giving you more leads and the more conversion? You can actually spend accordingly. You can plan your spend accordingly. Your application can be, automated. We'll give you a mobile application, right? to manage the entire affair, because in small setup, or let's say even in the big setup, everyone needs the handy system to manage everything, right? Because generally in the preschool, in the context of preschool, if I talk about, there are not so many resources and so many departments. So multitasker people are there in the ecosystem. So everything you can actually utilize over the screen of your phone. And you can even see the parent sentiment index that we were talking about, right? You can even automate your fee collection using that same system. You can collect fee from the parent, automated receipt get generated, parents get receipt on their WhatsApp, parent get the email, and even in the parent, they can see in their profile that how much they had paid and when they have paid, right? So auto scoring and merit list generation. And one single platform actually revolutionizing the entire admission, admission process for your school, right? So this is one single platform which can cater all your admission needs, right? Now, NoPaperForm for preschool is one important thing that Rohit is going to pick this up. And Rohit, if you can quickly tell our audience about this.
Sure. So when I talk about solutions that NoPaperForms provides for preschools, it is a full suite. It has a CRM at the center. So as you can see here, a CRM will help you with brand discovery. How? Brand discovery is when the front end is the uniapply.com website, as Ritesh had just mentioned, where we are listing out all the schools. A parent can discover your school through that platform directly. Second is there are several inquiries, applications that are generated from that front end, from that platform. And that is those inquiries are pushed into the CRM. Lead management. When you have a lead, you need to prioritize those leads. You need to eradicate rubbish leads. You need to find out which leads are validated, which are not. So these are parts of lead management. Next is also to just channelize which lead is coming from which source. You need to measure that. Everything is that lead management. Enquiry nurturing. Once you have that lead, an enquiry is a high intent lead, so you need to nurture that well. Talk to them consistently and professionally. Send communications right on time. Then you need to mark stages and you need to engage that audience. That's enquiry nurturing. Effective communication. My system can help you communicate directly through it. You can send emails, SMSs, and WhatsApp through the CRM itself. So there's the time where you have to save the number of the parent and then communicate directly externally. That time is gone. You can now communicate directly through the CRM. No need to save the number. And you can send DLT approved text messages also through the CRM. And not to mention emails that can go directly connected to your CRM.
So I have a very small question here. Like you mentioned DLT. So Rohit, there are formats in DLT because DLT has to approve the format of the SMS. So how does it work in the system of NoPaperForms?
So we have some pre-approved templates that are already present here. So templates are basically, you do not need to type anything or create content every time you communicate with the parent. These templates are already provided over there, and these are DLT approved. So all you need to do is use those templates and fire communication. You don't really have to worry about any.
Just need to select and send.
Yes, you can create your template also.
Perfect.
Otherwise. Yeah. So the last is the reports and insights. So if you are doing a lot of activity, you need to know what the numbers are, how many leads have come, how many leads are qualified, how many leads are junk, which are the sources of leads that are the best performing, how many leads are coming from Facebook, how many from Instagram, and so on. Which counselor has how many leads, what are the other, there are several other metrics that we measure. So basically these reports and insights will help you measure the whole admissions process and optimize it, right? So this is the heart of the entire solution, the CRM that the schools can utilize. Along with that, we have several other solutions as well. Ritesh, you can take it over from here.
Yeah, thank you. So in fact, right now you are chatting. If there are people who are asking questions in the chat box, and then this is managed by Nia. So Nia is a bot of offered by NoPaperForm. So Nia is capable to handle all your queries. Now, why a chatbot is required or Nia is required to manage your leads and inquiries, because most of the working parents, when we are talking about, in the culture where both the parents are working and they have a single child, or, during the day hours when your counselors and your admission managers are working, your prospective parents, they are also working. And once they get free after their work, your counselors and the staff is also off. They are also not available. Then Nia comes into the picture. Nia is capable enough to handle all your queries, which are pre-configured at the back end, which can be handled on your website, number one. Nia is also capable to handle your campaign, right? The chat over the campaigns and the Facebook page. And last but not the least, Nia can also help to manage the query over the WhatsApp of the parent, right? So Nia can really become an effective tool if you are going to use it, because during those hours when your staff is not available for the conversation and for the lead management and the lead handling, Nia is there to manage your inquiry.
Basically, a 24/7 counselor who is doing the job for you.
Why I am highlighting is generally we think that we have staff who's managing, but what about off the hours? Who is going to manage? So of course, rightly mentioned that it is 24/7, but yes, largely it can actually optimize your cost. That will take it up. And in fact, mobile application, like I said in my previous slide, that you can manage everything just on your fingertips. Whether you would want to manage the application, you would want to manage the lead, you want to manage your campaign, and you want to have a bird eye view, which we were talking about, that how many leads you have, how many applications you have, how many paid applications you have, and how many of them are actually enrolled. So everything you can just see on your fingertips. You don't need to have a system, or let's say a laptop or a desktop to see all the time. But even if you are moving, you are on the run, you can access each and every critical business information just on your mobile phone, right from lead intake to nurturing to productivity to final conversion, right? So this will actually help you to have a more control and more access to all the business information which is happening across in your business ecosystem. And this will help you to optimize the resources and cost, and scale your admission and business, right? So now I'll just do a quick roundup for this, that what we have discussed today. So we have discussed about the old game and what are the challenges, right? Which occurs just because the preschools stakeholder are there in the old game. And because of that, there are certain missed opportunity, and how what is the new game, and how you can start the new game, and you can become the part of new game, and you can become a winner. So that's where we talked about the NoPaperForms CRM, which can actually help you to optimize and scale your business.
How about I just give a demo of the whole thing?
And now we'll quickly give a demo. So Rohit, in fact, over to you. So overall, if we put schools and the preschool put together, we have been trusted by more than 1,500 schools and more than 700 institutions at higher education. So Rohit, over to you.
Can you go back a couple of slides, Ritesh? Yeah, further up. Yeah, so I will take the CRM demo right now.
So Rohit, you can share your screen.
Yeah.
Because now, since we have shown the live demo of this, system, and in fact, if you would like to see this, you can write to us. You can suggest you can give your suggestion, and you can write the feedback. The email ID is switchon@nopaperform.com. I will repeat again, switchon@nopaperform.com. So with this, I would like to thank you for participating and having the being the part of this conversation. And we will keep bringing such important topics and discussion on various segments. So with this, I would like to sign off, and you can access to lot many such session on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe our YouTube channel on by the name of NoPaperForms. You can also follow our page on LinkedIn and various other social platforms like Facebook and Instagram, right? With this, I would like to sign off and thank you for participating today. Wish you good luck.
Thank you so much.